These things, tin cans, you could argue these were the linchpin of our society, and we produce millions upon millions of them, and they are the most recycled object in the world. Something like 65% of these things get recycled. And we're not talking just about in industry, they're one of the most popular things to make stuff from. They're recycled because they are extremely popular for things to do with a tin can, and perhaps number 10 on the list is going to be those projects. Not because they're bad projects, it's just they're all over the place, and I really wanted to extend what it was that we were doing. So number 10, art and craft projects, and you find an enormous range of things coming from pen pots to tea light holders to desk organisers to wine racks to model toys like robots. You can even utility use it and flick your ash and use it as an ashtray. There's just this massive range of art and craft projects that you can do with a humble tin can pulled from the trash and given a quick wash. Like I say, I wanted to extend it a little bit into more of the things that we're interested in, or at least that I'm interested in, and that's those sort of energy generation motor style of things that you can do with a tin can. Now perhaps number 9 would be a boiler. You can just make this into a steam boiler. You add a safety valve and a couple of little bits of pipe, a heat source, and suddenly you've got yourself a steam generator. And of course a steam generator, you can link that with a steam engine and you've got yourself a motive power. Number 8 on this list is going to be the rocket stove. You find a lot of people making alcohol stoves, rocket stoves out of these. And the principle of a rocket stove is air. A rocket stove tends to be a can that way, a can that way. As it burns, then the draft on the flue pulls air over the fuel and you get incredibly good burn out of it. It's the most efficient burn that you can get. So you find a lot of rocket stoves being made out of this stuff. Number 7 is a steam engine itself. We talked about it being a boiler, but you can convert this into a hero engine incredibly easily. You punch a couple of holes here and here and you angle those holes, put a bit of water in, put a top on and heat it. And it will begin to rotate in the same way that the hero engine rotates. And that's going to be number 7. Number 6 is another really simple engine. It's called a pulse jet. In a pulse jet, you effectively put a small hole here. You put the fuel in there, light it. Now the fuel lights because it comes out as a vapour. As it burns, it pops back down and seems to extinguish, but it doesn't. It pops back down and then re-evaporates and you get this pop, 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 pop of it being a pulse jet. And of course that leads you immediately to the pop, pop boat that was made. That takes a little bit more construction, so it would be really an art and craft project, but you can make a pulse jet out of this really quite easily. Now, a fascinating thing I came across, and we've done it before when we've looked at EM's energy scavenging, because of course we live in a world surrounded by EM smog, and what people are doing is putting in Faraday cages in their houses to protect them from this smog. But what other people are doing is arranging antennas to collect that, and then you have a rectification circuit and you can use that to store the energy. Well, these things are called a cantenna. You can stick a wire in there and it becomes an antenna all of its own, and it can be used for energy scavenging. So a brilliant use for a tin can. Number 4 on the list is moving a bit more to the engineering, because there's been an awful lot of Stirling engines produced from soda cans. They're actually quite trivial to make, in fact, and you can make one from bits of card and a few soda cans. But you can also use these things and make a tin can Stirling engine that works quite impressively. Number 3 is an electrostatic speaker. If we take a signal from some music, pop it through a high coil, so like a car coil for instance, it'll create a high voltage pulse. If I wrap a single wire around the can, attach that wire to the positive, attach the can to the negative, that pulse is transferred into vibrations of the can, which we can hear. Now obviously that's based on the old tin can telephone thing that the kids used to use. You're vibrating the can, but you're using the high voltage to vibrate that can, and that turns it into an electrostatic speaker. On the tin can telephone, of course, you've just got a string between the two tin cans. You pull it taut into one, vibrates the string, vibrates the can. It's the same kind of principle, but it's using electrostatics as an electrostatic speaker. The other thing we talked about was this Alexanderson generator. So number 2 is to turn this into a generator. If you cut slots in the can, then you will turn it into the Alexanderson flux switching generator, which I know sounds like a lot, but we have actually done a video on that, on how to make a Alexanderson flux switching generator from a tin can by basically just cutting slots in it and giving it a spin. My all-time favourite is number 1, which is a wind turbine. These things can be turned into a wind turbine or wind wall extraordinarily easily, and of course extraordinarily cheaply. So there's a whole range of really quite incredible things you can do with something as humble as this. I've enjoyed exploring that, and of course we've made quite a lot of those things on the channel with videos of examples of those things. So the next time you're looking at one of these and thinking about throwing it away, think again. Think about all the things you could do with it, in particular energy generation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.